Hello everyone, welcome to the second lecture on the first module, that is the modern concepts in public administration. In the lecture 1, we discussed about many relevant modern concepts in public administration, beginning from the good governance to the e-government. In this lecture, we will discuss about the innovations in governance, the concepts of participatory governance, public policy perspective, crisis administration, and disaster management. Innovations in governance is one of the recent and related trend of research in public administration. Innovation, as we know, that it is about making use of something that is existing. When we talk about innovation in governance, it refers to the process of introducing new ideas, approaches, technologies, and strategies to enhance the functioning of the public institutions and improve the delivery of public services. It involves reimagining traditional governance structures and systems to adapt to changing circumstances, leveraging emerging technologies, and address complex societal challenges. Public administration works for the solution of the societal challenges that are becoming complex day by day. So the process of innovation in governance, it is about redesigning, reprocessing, and re-engineering the traditional governance structures, systems, and processes by adopting the new technologies, new ideas, new approaches, new strategies, so that the complex societal challenges can be solved and public service can be delivered in the most economic, efficient, and effective manner. We know that we are living in the era of new public service. We live in the era of new public management, where the governance focuses on the citizens. The governance focuses on providing enhanced, effective, economic, and citizen-centric effective services to the public. Innovations in governance are done with the same purpose. Innovation in governance is very crucial because of many reasons. These are some of the reasons. The first is enhancing service delivery. The governance, the administration, it works for providing the goods and services to the citizens. How to enhance these public services? How to deliver these services in the most economic, efficient, and effective manner? Innovations in governance is required to provide enhanced service delivery. Fostering citizen participation. We all live in the era where the citizens are in center of the governmental activities. How to foster the citizens' participation in the decision-making process. How to foster citizens' participation at every stage of the policy. How to foster citizens' participation in the delivery of services. In every aspect of governance, how to engage, how to encourage the citizens to participate. Third is addressing complex challenges. Our society is rapidly transforming, and the transformation need to be addressed by the administration, because the complexities of the society are challenges, and these challenges are to be faced by the administration. Therefore, innovation in governance is required to address the complex challenges that are emerging before the society. Fourth is adopting to technological advances. We all know that the technology in the current era is much more developed in comparison to the last decade. How the governance can make the best use of these technological advancements for the citizens. So due to these reasons, innovation in governance is very crucial. Around the globe, many practices are done in the governance to make the governance more citizen-centric. The innovative governance practices around the world are done in the form of open government initiatives, agile governance, regulatory governance, digital governance. Innovations in governance also brings some challenges and considerations. Adopting innovation in the governance is not an easy task. There are many challenges and considerations before the government before adopting to the innovations. Privacy and data protection. The privacy of the clients, the privacy of the citizens, the privacy of the beneficiaries and their data has to be protected. Digital divide. Whenever we visit some rural areas or the areas which are remote to the mainstream land, then we see a lot of digital divide that exists. This digital device, it creates a challenge before the innovative governance. Third is resistance to change. People who are working in the administration, it is not easy for them to accept the change. For anyone, it is very difficult to accept the change. So this resistance to the change in the form of new innovations need to be considered, and it is a challenge before the innovations in governance. Innovations in governance is essential. It is essential for modernizing public administration. It is essential for improving public service delivery. It is essential to address complex societal challenges. By embracing government initiatives, agile governance, regulatory sandboxes, and digital governance practices, government can become more responsive, transparent, and citizen-centric. However, it is crucial to consider the challenges and ethical implications associated with innovative governance approaches. Continued research, collaboration, and knowledge sharing are essential to drive meaningful innovations in governance and to shape the future of public administration. So innovations in governance are done due to many reasons. There are many challenges before these innovations, and these challenges need to be addressed for successful implementation of the innovations in governance. Our next topic is somehow related to the innovations in governance, because innovations in governance need to foster the participation of the citizens in the process of governance. This topic of ours is participatory governance. Participatory governance refers to the democratic approach to decision making and public administration that actively involves citizens in the process of decision making. When we talk about decision making in administration, we talk about the policy. The participatory governance, it aims to improve individuals and communities by providing them with opportunities to influence and shape policies, programs, and initiatives that affect their lives. In participatory governance, citizens are seen as active participants rather than passive recipient of government actions. The participative governance, it emphasizes the importance of inclusivity, transparency, and collaboration between the government and the public. The participatory governance is governed by some key principles. The first is inclusiveness. Participatory governance ensures the participation of diverse stakeholders. These stakeholders include marginalized groups. The participative governance, it aims to capture a wide range of perspective and interests. Second is transparency. The participatory governance aims to provide access to information, data, and decision-making processes to promote accountability and trust between the government and citizens. We are living in the era of participatory governance, where the trust between the government and the citizen is very much significant and crucial. The participative governance, it encourages collaboration. It encourages partnership and collaboration between the government, civil society organizations, and the private sector to leverage collective knowledge and resources. Engagement. The participatory governance aims to create meaningful opportunities for citizens to participate in the decision-making process, such as public consultations, citizen assemblies, participatory budgeting, and online platforms for feedback and suggestions. Next is accountability, holding both the government and citizens accountable for their roles and commitments in the decision-making process. Capacity building, providing the necessary resources, skills, and knowledge to the citizens so that citizens can participate and engage in the process of governance. So these were some of the key principles of participatory governance. Participatory governance can take various forms depending on the context and level of government. The participatory governance can occur at the local level, at the regional level, or at the national level. It can involve different methods and mechanisms such as town hall meetings, citizen advisory boards, participatory planning processes, and online platforms for public inputs. The benefits of participatory governance includes increased citizen trust and satisfaction, more informed decision making, better policy outcomes that address community needs, and the promotion of social cohesion and democratic values. The democratic values and norms has to be protected. These can be protected only when the citizens participate in the process of governance, which is the aim of the participatory governance. However, it also requires dedicated efforts. It requires dedicated efforts to ensure inclusivity, address power imbalances, and overcome the potential challenges such as limited resources, low citizen awareness, and managing divided opinions. Now we will see some of the benefits and challenges of implementing participatory governance models in decision-making processes at the local government level. We all know that in our country we have three levels of government: central, state, and local. What are the benefits when we implement the participatory governance at the local government level? The first benefit that we get is it enhances decision making. When we include citizens in decision making processes, it increases the diversity of perspective and knowledge that is available. It leads to more informed and effective decisions. The participatory governance, it ensures that decisions that are taken reflects the need and aspirations of the citizens, the communities. It results in better policy outcomes. Second is increased trust and legitimacy. The participatory governance, it fosters transparency, it fosters accountability, and it fosters citizens' engagement. This can strengthen the trust between the government and the community. When citizens they feel that their voices are heard and their opinion matter, this enhances the legitimacy of local government. Third is better problem identification. Engaging citizens in decision making process, it helps in identification and prioritizing issues that may not have been overlooked. Local residents have a deep understanding of the challenges and opportunities of their communities, and their participation can shed light on local needs that need not to be apparent to policymakers. So when we encourage the citizens to participate in the decision making process, it helps the government, helps the local administration, helps the local government to identify the actual need and aspiration and challenges of the local level. Next is strengthen social cohesion. Participatory governance provides a platform for dialogue, collaboration, and building of social capital among community members. It fosters the community ownership and shared responsibility. It leads to increased social cohesion and community resilience. Like all the concepts of public administration, this concept of participatory governance, when implemented on the local government level, it also has some challenges. The first challenge is inclusivity and representation. Ensuring the meaningful participation of all the community members, including marginalized groups, can be challenging. It requires proactive effort from the side of administration to reach out to diverse segment of the population and to overcome barriers such as the barrier of the language, accessibility, and power imbalance. Second is resource constraints. Implementing participatory governance processes may require additional resources, including funding, staff time, and technical expertise. Local governments may need to allocate resources and build capacity to effectively manage and sustain participatory initiatives. Third is managing expectations. Participatory governance can raise expectations among citizens who may anticipate immediate results or a direct influence on decision outcomes. Local governments need to communicate realistic expectations and ensure that participatory processes are seen as complement to representative democracy rather than a replacement for elected officials. Next challenge is balancing diverse perspectives. When we engage a wide range of stakeholders, it may lead to divergent opinions and conflicting interests. The local governments must navigate these differences, and they should find mechanisms to facilitate constructive dialogues consensus building, and decision making processes that take into account multiple viewpoints, which is a challenge for the local government. Time and efficiency. Participatory governance processes can be time consuming, and it requires a higher level of efforts for consultation, deliberation, and consensus building. Balancing the need of thorough process inclusivity with the desire for efficiency and timely decision making is a critical challenge. To overcome all these challenges, the local government should invest in capacity building of their officials, capacity building of the elected representatives, collective building of the members, the citizens, establish clear guidelines and frameworks for participatory processes, leverage technology for efficient engagement, and foster a culture of collaboration and trust between the government and the community. Then only the essence or the aim of participatory governance can be fulfilled. After participatory governance, we have a very interesting topic, that is the public policy perspective. We all live in the public policy era. The public policy perspective refers to the way policymakers and stakeholders approach and analyze issues related to public policy. It involves considering various factors such as political, social, economic, and ethical dimensions to formulate, implement, and evaluate policies that address societal problems or meet specific objectives. We all know that the public policies are formulated to solve societal problems, to provide benefit to the citizens, to provide solutions. This is policy cycle. The first stage of the policy cycle is agenda setting or policy articulation. In this stage, the various demands, aspirations, and the issues of the public are taken into consideration and an agenda is set. This agenda decides the area in which the policy is needed, the different solutions to the problem. After the agenda setting, the policies are formulated. After policy have been formulated, all the beneficiaries and the implementing agencies and all the agencies that are associated in the process of policy implementation are educated. This stage of policy education, it involves educating the beneficiaries of the policy and the officials who are going to implement the policy about the policy. What are the aims and objectives of the policy? What is the policy statement? What are the goals and objectives of the policy? Once this process is completed, then the policies are implemented. After the implementation of the policies by various agencies, the policies are evaluated. The evaluation gives a picture to us that whether the policy has failed or it has succeeded. Once the policy evaluation is done, the policy is continued or it is revised, it is upgraded, or it is corrected. So we all live in the era of policy perspective. Researchers in the field of public policies are very much encouraged. A public policy perspective requires policymakers to balance competing interests, navigate complex trade-offs, make evidence-informed decisions, and consider the broader impacts of policies on society. The policy perspective, it emphasizes the importance of evidence-based analysis, stakeholder engagement, ethical considerations, and the pursuit of public interest. All the policies are formulated in the interest of the public. Furthermore, public policy perspective can vary depending on ideological, cultural, and contextual factors, shaping how policymakers approach and prioritize issues, as well as they value the principles that guide the decision-making processes. After the public policy perspective, we have one more very interesting topic, that is crisis administration. Crisis administration is also known as crisis management. This crisis administration or crisis management, it refers to the process of effectively handling and mitigating the impact of a crisis or emergency situation. We all have seen the era of COVID. We have observed how this crisis was managed by the governments, by the administration at various levels. The crisis administration involves the strategic planning, coordination, and execution of measures to minimize harm, restore order, and protect the well-being of individuals, organizations, and communities affected by the crisis. Our recent COVID-19, COVID-20 crisis situation is a very beautiful case study in the field of crisis administration. Here are some of the key aspects typically involved in crisis administration. First is preparedness. Crisis administration begins with proactive measures to anticipate and prepare for potential crisis. This involves conducting risk assessments, developing emergency response plans, establishing communication protocols, and training personnel to handle various crisis scenarios. Identification and assessment. Once a crisis occurs, it is crucial to promptly identify and assess the nature, the scale, and potential consequences of the situation. This involves gathering information, evaluating the severity and urgency, and understanding the key stakeholders and resources that are going to be involved. Communication and coordination. Effective crisis administration relies on clear and timely communication with all relevant stakeholders, including internal teams, external partners, authorities, and the public. Coordinating efforts among different entities and maintaining consistent messaging helps manage the crisis and reduce confusion. Response and action. Based on the assessment that has been done, crisis managers, they develop and implement an appropriate response plan. This may involve activating emergency protocols, deploying resources, providing aid and support, initiating evacuation or sheltering procedures, and ensuring the safety and well-being of affected individuals. Next is continuity and recovery. Crisis administration encompasses strategies for maintaining and restoring essential services, operations, and infrastructure. It involves post-crisis evaluation, lessons learned, and implementing measures to reduce, minimize future risks. Adaptability and flexibility. Crises are often dynamic and unpredictable. Effective crisis management requires the ability to adopt strategies and actions in response to changing circumstances. Regular monitoring, assessment, and adjustments are crucial components of crisis administration. After crisis administration, the next topic is disaster management. The disaster management is also known as disaster response or emergency management. It is a comprehensive approach to preparing for and responding to, recovering from, and mitigating the effects of disasters. It involves the coordination and implementation of measures to protect lives, property, and the environment during and after a disaster has happened. Some of the key components and principles of disaster management are preparedness, mitigation, response, recovery, coordination, communication, learning, and improvement. So when we follow all these principles, we are able to manage the disaster. Disaster management is a multidisciplinary field which involves collaboration between the government agencies, non-governmental organizations, community groups, volunteers, and individuals. It aims to minimize the loss of life and property, alleviate suffering, and promote resilience in the face of disaster.